We're just going to have a walk around to the workshop now, which is just across the road from the showroom, and we'll see what we've got over there. There's a few classics and a few moderns there, all in different states of repair. Well, we'll have a look in the classic workshop first and see what this is all here waiting for work. So that's a Daytona Spyder which we've done a full restoration on, and it's just the last bits are going together now. So engine's just gone in, all the drivetrain in, now it'll just be the finishing touches. The engine will have done 1,000 kilometres on the dyno beforehand to bed in, so then that way we're comfortable that everything's in order. This is a spectacular car, 250 short wheelbase road car with some comp features. We're just doing the final on this. It's had 2 or 3 road tests now, and it'll just be last bit of jetting for the carburation, and so that's now almost complete. Just cold air pan to go back on it and tune the carbs, and she's come along beautifully, very happy with her. The Lusso over here is one we've restored from scratch. Final things to finish off, and again under here everything is exactly as you'd want it to be, and then there's no excuses. If you can prepare a car like this, then nobody can discuss condition or anything else, and also the client can use this car, enjoy it, and go and put miles on it and not have issues about using it. But all of these will be exactly the same underneath. They have to be. Oh, here's my little girl over here somewhere. So this is sort of my sort of indulgence. So I'm just giving the engine a freshen up at the moment because I've been promising for the last 4 years to do it, but never quite got round to it. And in reality, it's things like this that make you want to go to work. I used to tinker with cars because I wanted to go racing, so the only way I could afford to go racing was to tinker with them myself, so I sort of self-taught myself. And then I used to buy and sell a few cars in order to help fund my motor racing, and that's sort of how it really started. So you go to the odd auction, or you'd buy something out of the local papers for a few £100s, you'd try and add a bit of value to it and sell it for a little bit more, and then you'd go again. The reality, as a kid, I always wanted to own something like this. I never thought I would or could, and then you work and all of a sudden you have it, and so you think, well, you know, and that's the reward. What a great reward, you know, and I'm very lucky to have it. For me, owning a classic is you're going back to analogue ways of what our DNA is in reality. We want to drive a car in a manual way, an analogue way, and these cars do that. And the other thing is, if you get in a modern car today, it's amazing, and you can go and corner at 120 miles an hour and it'll do it without trying, and actually it will make you look really talented because the car does everything for you. Classic car is doing everything in slow motion because it's obviously much more primitive in it's an early design, and you are driving the car at a different limitation. So you might only be doing 70 miles an hour, but actually it will give you more of a kick than the sports car at 120 because you're still near the edge. So it doesn't matter whether you're in the Fiat 500 or you're in the Ferrari. They're both going to give you a similar feeling, but to get that feeling out of a modern car, you've got to be absolutely on the ragged edge of huge speeds, whereas this is much slower, and I think it's an equal enjoyment but in a different way. You know, many years ago you could only buy an analog wristwatch, And then they brought digital watches out, and of course that was in the 70s. If you had a digital watch, LED, you know, that was cool. And then every watch became electric. And then suddenly the demand came back, going, well, hang on a minute, we don't want electric watches. I want a mechanical watch. I want something that's made beautifully, that's crafted beautifully, that looks beautiful, but I want it to be mechanical. And today mechanical watches are leading the field. You know, Porsche popped in with a 911R, made a manual car, and they sold it off the pegs, and they were trading for double lists because it was, people want analog. So every engine we build or put in a car here, first thing we do, it goes on the dyno. We'll do 700-800 kilometers on here of just basic running in, service it, and then we'll take it to maximum power, make sure it's happy, and then it goes in the car. So this one's just had its running in procedure, so we'll break it down now, and that'll go in a car. Very time consuming, but it's trying to be extraordinary, and if you want to be extraordinary you have to dot the I's and cross the T's, and this way we can put an engine in a car. We know it's already proven, it's done thick end of 1,000 kilometers before it goes in. Client wants to drive it flat out, he can or she can, and if we've got any issues we can deal with them here on the dyno, where you can see everything, you can get round everything. If there's a small oil leak here, we can deal with it rather than trying to do it in a car with a mirror and no room to work. And it also means that the engine is going to be stronger, lasting longer, and I won't have to touch that engine for years to come. Lamborghini Jeep LM002. We've had that quite a long time because I sort of bought it for myself, but I've now sold it to a friend of mine in the States. I'm still not sure why I sold it, because I don't know, it's a monster truck with a V12 Countach engine in it. You know, it's just very cool. You never stop learning. You know, if you stop, you're going to go backwards. So you have to try and improve yourself all the time. And the reality is, you know, we do a good job, I believe, but we're far from perfect. So you're trying to improve every bit of yourself all the time. And the bigger you get, it's harder, because then you're relying on other people as well. And I'm very lucky because most of the people I have with me have got the same philosophy, and they want to be the best at what they do, whether it's selling a car, servicing a car, cleaning a car. You know, they want to be extraordinary at it. And if you've got that attitude and philosophy, then, you know, how can it be a bad thing? You know, it sort of works. This is sort of the grown-up side, which is the official Ferrari Maserati side of the business. So we do servicing, repair, warranty, everything here to do with both marks. And so you never, TRS. Again, that gets sent over once a year for a service. A car is like, it's got to do everything you want it to do when you want it to do it, and if you keep on top of it, you can eradicate most of the problems. Again, this car here, 275, a pair of them, they've just come back from doing Tour Auto. One came second, one came sixth. They both had a fantastic time, which is the only important thing. And every year these boys do 2,000 kilometers the hard way in these cars, and that's 1965. And it can take the punishment, no problem at all. And they're great friends, and they go there together. And what a way to spend a week. You know, it doesn't really get any better. There's my Fiat. She's just sitting in the corner. She'll go and live across the road. The 595 Abarth SS. Of course, the SS. Couldn't have the other one. That was a childhood dream to own. So yeah, I love that car. We have an awful lot of fun with that. Quite often there's 4 of us in there. So yeah, it's a little flying machine. If I could only choose 3 cars, would it be race cars or road cars? You know, it's an impossible question. You know, if I was to look at, I'd like to rename the question into 3 race and 3 road cars. The race cars would be easy. You'd have a Ferrari P4, you'd have an MC12 Maserati GT1 car, and I'd have to think about the third, but those two were absolutely no problem at all. The road cars, 250 California Spyder is just the ultimate motor car. A 250 short wheelbase has got the prettiest bum of any road car ever made. And then I also love my Fiat 500 595 Abarth. You know, so there's three, but you know, there's probably another 10 cars that could quite easily have made that top three, depending on your mood today. The other racing car I'd probably have is a D-Type Jaguar, long-nosed D-Type Jaguar. I had to forgive the car for being English, it was so good. For me, a car has to do three things. You have to look at it and go, oh yeah, I like you. You got to start it up and you go, oh yeah, she sounds lovely. And then you go up the road and you think, ah, yeah, she's doing everything I want. So it's ticked all those three boxes. Life's perfect, it's done. All of a sudden it's an electric car. It may look fantastic, but as soon as you get in it, what do? You press Control Alt Delete, you know, because the car stops in the road. You plug your iPod into it or something, or your iPhone into it to make it go. I mean, what a load of crap. You want to hear where you're going, and also I think that the electric car is unsustainable, because in a minute you can have every manufacturer producing electric cars, so they'll all be using the same motor, the same technology, they'll get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and nobody will be in business because it'll actually be a universal thing, and all that you'll have is the body shape that will differentiate it. The interiors will become plusher and more elegant, but I don't think it's sustainable. I've always believed electricity's for the kitchen, and that's it. It's not for a motor car, and there's no room for it. You know, it's a sad point. I'm for the first time in my life, I'm happy I'm old, because it means that I won't have to live through a generation of bloody electric cars.